Ayala effect and fan base behind me is gonna be funny. She's carrying the crowd, so it's gonna be interesting.
$140, a royal blue kit, a 21-year-old Filipina ranked 20th in the world, and a Nike marketing budget that, according to photos fans have been circulating across social media this week, is reportedly starting to climb the sides of buildings in New York City. Alex Eala is not the highest-ranked player at the 2026 US Open. She is not American and she is not a Grand Slam champion. Yet somehow, heading into the biggest tournament on the North American calendar, she has become the player Nike has chosen to put at the center of its campaign. The question being whispered across the WTA locker room is incredibly simple. Why her? Why now? And what does Nike understand that the rest of the tour has not fully accepted yet? To grasp the scale of Nike's gamble, you only need one number. Alex Eala is the first Filipina in history to break into the WTA top 20 and the first ever to win a WTA 500 title after beating Jessica Pegula at the Washington, D.C. Open. That is the kind of credential Nike is putting its money behind, even though the company's moves over the past 12 months have looked far bigger than her ranking alone would suggest. Then, on August 20th, 2025, everything took a sharp turn. That was the day Eala stepped into Nike's New York City headquarters, posted a 2-word Instagram caption, New York, New York, and sparked a conversation around the tour that still has not died down. Nike does not normally fly players ranked in the 70s to its global headquarters during the build-up to a Grand Slam. It does not create solo Grand Slam commercials for athletes who have never won a major. And historically, Nike has put its New York City Billboard space behind American stars. Madison Keys received that treatment after her 2025 Australian Open title, photographed across the Manhattan skyline beneath the Nike swoosh. Now, reports moving through Filipino tennis communities and tennis watcher accounts suggest Nike may be preparing a similar billboard push for Eala during the 2026 US Open cycle. Mainstream media has not confirmed the exact locations, but the buzz is impossible to miss, and the public trail Nike has already created makes this feel less like random speculation, and more like something that was always coming. The higher-ranked veterans on Nike's roster have not said anything publicly. They do not have to. Their silence tells its own story. Look at the pattern, because once you recognize it, it becomes difficult to ignore. In July 2025, Nike created a custom Sampaguita hair tie for Eala's Wimbledon center court debut. The Sampaguita is the national flower of the Philippines. Brands do not create country-specific micro-products for players they consider role players. That is franchise-level language. It is the same kind of design thinking Nike used around Naomi Osaka's Haitian-Japanese identity in 2019. Then came August 2025 and the Vogue Philippines cover. Eala appeared exclusively in Nike clothing, photographed by Mark Nickdow, surrounded by a coordinated editorial feature titled Alex Eala Honors Heritage in her custom Nike shirt. Sponsors do not casually coordinate Vogue covers, national icon rollouts do. Just days later, she posted from Nike's New York headquarters. A few days after that, the tournament started. On August 24, 2025, at Louis Armstrong Stadium, Eala walked onto the court to face world number 14 Clara Towson, wearing Nike Vapor Pro 3 premium shoes that would eventually appear in her own signature player collection at Tennis Warehouse. She lost the second set 2-6 and then fell behind 5-1 in the deciding tiebreak. Then, in front of a New York crowd that had arrived expecting a routine upset in the opposite direction, she won 7 of the next 8 points and closed it out 7-6 in the 11th. The Nike commercial that appeared across social media weeks later featured that same stadium, that same silhouette, and that same royal blue palette. The investment had paid off on the court Nike had already chosen to point its camera toward. Fast forward to October 2025. Sports Illustrated put the idea into words. Then in February 2026, Nike flew Eala to its global headquarters in Beaverton, Oregon for a personalized welcome ceremony and posted the caption, Salamat Sampaguita, thank you for visiting, from an official Nike corporate account. The audience in Manila understood exactly what that meant before anyone in Beaverton needed to explain it. Compress the timeline and the pattern becomes extremely difficult to dismiss. Wimbledon custom Filipino product, August Vogue cover, NYC top 20 upset, October signature tier retail language, February Oregon coronation, August 2026 solo commercial, royal blue kit, 140 court slam dress on shelves, and reports of billboards rising above the crowds heading into Flushing Meadows. The Filipino fans who called this 2 years ago, who argued that Eala was not simply a novelty or a diversity checkbox, but the next global Nike face, were seeing signals that many sports insiders were still refusing to recognize. Now, the receipts are reportedly appearing on the sides of buildings. Sports Illustrated has been publishing since 1954. It is the American magazine that helped turn tennis stars into cultural monuments. From Billie Jean King's covers to Serena Williams being named Sports Person of the Year, when SI's tennis desk writes about a player, those words carry the weight of 7 decades of establishment credibility. In October 2025, SI writer Alex Wong published the sentence that appeared to settle the argument. Alex Eala, he wrote, has officially arrived as a legitimate contender on the WTA tour. That is not the language of a fan account. It is not simply Filipino diaspora enthusiasm. It is one of the most established voices in American sports, saying out loud what Nike had already committed millions of dollars to. The Washington Post reinforced the story days earlier, describing the 2025 US Open as an athleisure war and pointing to Nike's aggressive positioning, with Eala emerging as the newest primary asset in that battle. When SI and the Washington Post are telling the same story from different directions, the situation starts looking less like a debate and more like a clear strategic decision. Nike's move is not really only about Alex Eala, it is about geography. Throughout the modern era of tennis marketing, Nike's franchise spending has been directed toward American, European, and Japanese athletes. Serena, Sharapova, Osaka. Southeast Asia was never the obvious answer. The Philippines, a country of more than 100 million people and home to one of the world's largest sneaker-buying diasporas, had never been the response to a Nike growth question. Now it is. That is what the reported Billboards could represent. Not simply the rise of one athlete, but an entire market being welcomed into the tennis conversation for the first time at franchise scale. Look at the calendar. The 2026 US Open runs from August 23rd through September 13th, and Eala's Fan Week exhibition against Iva Jovic on August 27th at Arthur Ashe Stadium is already positioned as a major marketing set piece. After that, Nike's next confirmed product drop is her Wimbledon 2026 Vapor Pro 3 White and University Gold colorway. Each event becomes another checkpoint. Everyone adds another wall in New York, Manila, or London that Nike now has a reason to buy. Tournament directors are watching who fills the seats. Nike is telling them who does. The record, however, is not spotless. 4 days after the Towson upset, Eala returned to the US Open grounds and lost her second round match to Spain's Cristina Buxa 6-4, 6-3. 8 days after the Nike NYC headquarters post, her 2025 US Open was finished. But she did not disappear and she did not hide. She put the experience into her own words. After an earlier loss, she carried the same message into the season, writing tough loss today, but dropping this here as a reminder to be happy about living out your dreams, even if it comes with bad days. Within months of that Buxa defeat, she was holding a WTA 500 trophy in Washington after beating Jessica Pegula 4-6, 6-4, 6-0. That is the shortest possible journey from a Grand Slam second round exit to a first career title. 2 words on Instagram in August, a Sampaguita hair tie at Wimbledon. A tiebreak clawed back from 5-1, a Vogue cover, an Oregon ceremony delivered in Filipino, a royal blue kit hanging in Nike stores for $140 a piece. And now reportedly her face appearing on the walls of the city that will host the final Grand Slam of the year. Nike did not place Alex Eala at the center of its US Open campaign simply because she is ranked 20th in the world. Nike put her there because it appears to have already decided that she can become the face of a market it has never truly owned. And every veteran on the WTA who assumed the New York skyline still belonged to them is quietly realizing that they may not have been invited into this conversation. Here is the question worth debating. Is Nike investing in Alex Eala because she is already a superstar? Or is Nike building the next tennis superstar in real time, right in front of us? Put your claim in the comments and be specific. If you believe this campaign ends with Eala inside the WTA top 10 by the end of 2026, subscribe and prove it. This channel will track every billboard, every commercial, every Nike drop, and every match on the road to Arthur Ashe. Make your prediction now and let us see which side of history you end up on when the trophy is finally lifted.